Have you ever found yourself in situations where you feel that you're not fully understood by the people who matter the most to you? Or maybe you find yourself giving what you think is love and affection, but the other person doesn't seem to feel it at all. Um, you might be expressing yourself the right way, or at least the way that sounds right to you, but if they don't understand your gestures, then what's the point? Basically, you think you're sending the right signals, but if the receiver is not designed to receive such signals, then there would be no communication, basically. Let me put it that way. Have you ever thought about such a possibility? What if there is a framework or an approach that can completely change how you experience your relationship and love? In this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 love languages that can hopefully transform your relationship. And this is definitely not just about romantic relationships. It can definitely be applied to any area, whether it's your neighbors or your mom, your father, your colleagues, your coworker, your managers, your neighbor, anywhere. And it's no exaggeration to use the word transformative, I think. And so stay with me until the end as I'll go through them one by one and share my personal story, how I learned about it, and also the background of the book. Welcome to this video, and my name is Sohail. For those friends of mine that might not know me, in this channel and throughout these videos, I share personal takeaways from the books that I have really enjoyed and the lessons or things that have stood out the most, and I would really love to have them being shared with those others, any friends that I really care about, either family members or friends that I know, or friends that maybe I can get to know through this adventure. A few years ago, I think it was 5 years ago, that I had a very valuable friend who was a very experienced physician, and she was actually, sorry for that, she was into reading books, and one day, sort of out of no context, she shared this very valuable book. The title was reading as The 5 Love Languages, and I do remember that there was the photo of a coffee on the cover, and I thought, that's sort of cool. There is the image of a coffee. I think it was cappuccino or something like that, and it says 5 love languages. Honestly, I wasn't that much into reading such books, but since I really valued my friend and the cover was already provoking my curiosity, I decided to give it a try and read it, and I was definitely very happy and excited after finishing it. Years later, I ended up basically looking for that same book in Barnes and Nobles, and it's funny that I was trying to find the same exact book with the same cover design. I could not find that same one, but I found that same book and gifted when I was myself in the actual process of love. And turns out after a few months, I got the feedback after giving that as a gift that it was very much appreciated, and the person that I gave the book to, guess what? She also went on to encouraging others to get the book and find it. Who knows? Maybe by the end, you might be one of those. So the book has been written by Gary Chapman, and Gary Chapman is basically a renowned counselor, a speaker, and author with over 30 years of experience working with couples and families. And believe me, I'm not gonna be an advertising agent for this gentleman, but I wanted to provide you with some context about the author because I think that really matters. It's the idea and the life of the author that comes through the words. So he has a master's degree in anthropology and a PhD in adult education, which provides him with the foundation to explore the complexities of human relationships. He's also the director of Marriage and Family Life Consultants, and his work has impacted millions worldwide. And it was first published in 1992, so it's more than 30 years and has been republished and published again and again over time a lot. And his approach is based on years of experience as a counselor. And that's also something that really matters. If it's coming from science is something and experience is another thing. So having those together is very powerful. And this guy has the real experience in addition to the very scientific knowledge. I'm going to pause here because I'm sure you can find the information about the author, his life, and the book itself. But I'm going to basically start talking about the 5 love languages and what is in there. Before that, let me mention that same friend that gave me I borrowed that book from her and I read it cover to cover. She was the very same person who one day excitedly shared that she has read this book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, and of which I also have created a video, and that was also very fun read and I think very beneficial as well. So you can check that one as well. You might find it useful as well. Here they are, the 5 love languages. So language number 1 is words of affirmation, and basically this talks about how some people feel loved when they receive verbal compliments, encouragement and appreciation. And that's personally what makes the most sense to me. When by the end of this video, hopefully, and even more hopefully, if you can read the whole book, the actual book, you will realize that you will also get to know yourself better. Let me put it that way, because communication is about a dialogue between two people, right? So you should know what makes you happy or feel appreciated the most, as well as your partner. So it's about knowing yourself first and then your partner. And usually that's what experts say, that the strongest relationships are built once the person knows himself or herself. Remember, know thyself, right? Include compliments. For example, you are such a smart person, or you are such a respectful person, or I really appreciate that you are a very committed person. Language number 2, acts of service. And so sometimes it's doing things for your partner, whether big or small, that can make them feel loved. That might be cooking an omelette, or just bringing a cup of tea or coffee for them, or it might be taking the trashes out, or maybe fixing an issue that is going on, or maybe making the phone call that they are stressed about on their behalf. So those are some examples. Language number 3, can you guess that one? Is receiving gifts. And honestly, before reading this book, as an outsider and as a sort of a very naive understanding, I thought it's the gifts that, especially when it comes to romantic relationships, that really is the key to conquer their hearts. And it was this book that changed my perspective entirely, learning that that's just one out of the 5. And also, let me give you this caveat that it's not that each individual has only one love language. Indeed, and I think the book itself clarifies this, that we can be communicated with all of this, but there is usually and almost always a hierarchy between them. And number 4 is quality time. Quality time includes those times that you give the sense to your partner that they are heard, or maybe you spend a very unique evening watching a very interesting movie together in a cinema. The new movies that are out there these days, Mission Impossible number 8 is drawing so much attention. Or maybe it's just going for a long walk in the nature, or maybe going together and spending time in a good restaurant or maybe a museum. Maybe if you share this video with someone else, it might change their life, even in a small way or in a bigger way. So as I was very surprised by the way that the book changed my perspective, and I was excitedly talking with my very close friends at the time, and years later I myself ended up going and paying money and buying the book as a gift to someone that now matters the most in the world to me. And that very same person went on giving that. Maybe just sharing this book with someone else might be the gesture that you might need. Maybe you can give them the book as a gift, or maybe just you can share this video. And if and only if you find some joy or some benefit in this video or any other videos, please consider subscribing. Subscribing helps both of us. So it helps me by knowing that I'm in the right direction, that what I'm talking about is basically resonating with some people. So it creates a sense of community. And believe me, maybe one day you might be in the position of creating your own videos. The very last 5 language is physical touch. And physical touch is very important. Based on the science of neuroscience, we know that oxytocin is released, is I think a neurotransmitter. I'm of course not a neuroscientist here. When we have this physical touch, and if you believe it or not, even when you are facing with a real human being, face to face, eye to eye, that also leads to the release of oxytocin. And examples of this language could include hug, kiss, or handshake. And here's that personal observation. When I read this book, I sort of started to care more about the people that were around me, sometimes even without telling them that I've read this book. For instance, there was this gentleman who was a very valuable friend of mine, and my guess was that his love language was physical touch, because every time that there was a party or gathering together, when there was like more than 10 people, he was the person who usually made sure that shakes hand with everyone, even though maybe others were hesitant or they were already forgetting. So here you got it. My takeaway from the love languages, 5 love languages by Gary Chapman. See you in the next video, hopefully, and thanks a lot for watching.